Hello folks, welcome to the 8th episode of my Sanibel Chronicles. Again, this is your host, Charles LeBuff, telling true tales of old Sanibel Island and other aspects of the history and biology of Southwest Florida. Tonight I will complete my discussion of American alligators, wrap it up in an interesting way, I hope. Before we get started, I would like to thank all of the new subscribers that have joined with us, and I really appreciate the likes that you folks are leaving, because between the subscriptions and the likes, the thumbs up, then it helps this channel grow and spread out in the theme of the YouTube channel aspects. I'm going to start with, first of all, with something on American crocodiles. I've touched mostly on alligators, but I have had some experience, especially in my younger days, with American crocodiles. In 1960, I published a paper discussing the range of the American crocodile on the Gulf Coast of Florida. And then in 2016, I published an update on the crocodile's range in the Bulletin of the Florida Museum of Natural History. It was titled Historical Review of American Crocodiles Along the Florida Gulf Coast. I have copies of that available. If you're interested in obtaining a copy, the only way I'm going to distribute them is through email contact with by using the logo email address in the upper left-hand corner. I guess it's up there when you look at it. But it will be I'll distribute a PDF of that article if you're interested in the history of crocodiles in Florida and their present distribution, and how climate change is affecting the distribution of the American crocodile here in the United States. The only place in the world where alligators and crocodiles coexist are here in southern Florida. The Everglades National Park is famous for having a population, but as you'll find, the range is slowly increasing further north. This first photograph that I'm going to utilize is a very interesting shot that was made by Sanibel nature photographer Terry Baldwin. She was out on the wildlife drive of J.N. Ding Darling National Wildlife Refuge one morning, and there in the canal just inside the entrance, it's a brackish water canal, was an American alligator and American crocodile in close contact, and she snapped several photographs, and this one is among my favorite crocodile photos. It shows interaction between an American alligator and an American crocodile. Looking at it, I don't see any aggressive behavior. It's sort of just a contact, hello, I'll see you later. This crocodile pictured lived on Ding Darling Refuge for close to 30 years, but it finally perished in a cold snap in 2010. Since then, 2 additional crocodiles have occupied Sanibel, not on the refuge specifically, but on private property on Sanibel. And I'm hopeful that someday that population will continue to grow, and I'm certain it will over time. This photograph impacted me a great deal, and being somewhat artistic by nature, I decided to recreate the scene. In this next photograph, I named Confrontation in the Estuary. You have to use your imagination a little. On the left is an American crocodile, on the right an American alligator, and they've just broken the surface of the water of the Caloosahatchee estuary, and they're facing one another. I did this several years ago, and it hung in my living room. And I forgot just how, but a member of the IUCN Crocodile Specialist Group discovered I had created this piece of art. And he saw it, and frankly, he made me an offer I couldn't refuse. So now, originally to create these, I went up to the crocodile exhibit at Ding Darling Refuge, and I measured. They have both a crocodile and an alligator skull, and I measured those to get all of my proportions correct. And that's how I based my art, my carving on those two skulls. So I sold that first one, Confrontation in the Estuary, and I sort of missed it on my wall. So over time I decided I couldn't live without one myself, so I created another. This next photograph is that second creation. The crocodile, pointed snout, tan colored, left side of the image, and to the right, the darker olive green black American alligator. I want you to look closely at the crocodile's snout. The crocodile's snout. It's sort of rounded. There are no imperfections, nothing but normal flesh tones and skin on the snout. So I sold that first one, Confrontation in the Estuary, and I sort of missed it on my wall. So over time I decided I couldn't live without one myself, so I created another. This next photograph is that second creation. The crocodile, pointed snout, tan colored, left side of the image, and to the right, the darker olive green black American alligator. Now please note the tip of the crocodile's skull. You notice there are two teeth that are coming through the skull. Typically, not all American crocodiles possess this characteristic, but it's quite common for the front teeth of the mandible, the lower jaw, to grow to such a length they protrude through the tip of the nose of the crocodile. And those two teeth are in place in my second carving. It's a quite common characteristic with American crocodiles. The next thing I want to talk about, well, I did talk about the teeth, but after I left Sanibel Island, we had damage from Hurricane Charlie in 2004, and we decided it was time to move off of Sanibel. So we purchased a home in Fort Myers, South Fort Myers. And the property where we live has 4 bodies of water, and there's a very tiny population of American alligators in those ponds. And it's just not suitable habitat. There's very poor bank habitat, very few basking sites available where the animals aren't continually disturbed by people. So at the most, the 4 bodies of water hold a maximum of about 8 alligators, of primarily juvenile to adult sizes. Well, when I took up residence there, about a year later, I noticed one of the Florida alligator trappers had come in, having been called by one of the residents, and he had 2 alligators trussed up in his pickup truck that he had caught, and there was a group of people surrounding the truck, and they were arguing and cussing and carrying on. Some people wanted the alligators moved, some didn't. It's a perplexing problem anywhere people live on a body of water in Florida. There's going to be alligators. It's just a fact of life they had better learn to live with. But in this case, these people are concerned with the alligators, and the alligators were over 4 feet long, and they met the classification of being a nuisance alligator when reported by a resident, and someone had reported them. Well, I had befriended the president of our association here, and he was discussing it with me, the problem with me one day, and I told him what we needed was someone to evaluate the alligator before the state sent out a trapper to see if it appeared to have any indication that it was truly a nuisance. And he knew that I had dealt with alligators during my career, so he asked me if I would be interested in tackling that position. And I told him, yeah, I would do that. So he told me to write up a proposal, and I did. And in a few weeks, I was appointed the Alligator Complaint Evaluator for my community. And that's the first time that's occurred in Florida. I don't know of any other case personally. There may be. If there is, I'd welcome to learn of that information. So after I'd been appointed to this position, I contacted the SNAP program of the Florida Wildlife Commission. The office was in Okeechobee. A gentleman by the name of Lindsay Horde managed the program. And I called and explained that I wanted to ascertain that the alligators they received phone calls on were truly nuisances, whether they were a danger to humans or pets in the community. And I responded to a few questions, and the next thing I knew, I was granted the SNAP take permit for my community, with an understanding that an alligator trapper could not come onto this private property unless he was notified or she was notified by me. And I would go out when there was a complaint. The residents would telephone me. I would go out and evaluate the alligator, and never found one to truly exhibit a real nuisance to anyone. So I kept that position for like 16 years, and finally, because of age and difficulty getting around, I decided at the age of 87 that it was time to give that up. So I did, and now the program is back to the original SNAP program, a resident complaining about an alligator, and I assume there may be still some who aren't educated. 2 alligators, although I conducted public forums on alligator behavior occasionally for the community. So now it's back to the original. But during my 16 years as Alligator Complaint Evaluator, even though I received complaints from residents, I never saw it a correct action to call the alligator trapper and have an alligator removed. And I don't know if that has set in with the neighborhood, but I don't believe an alligator trapper has been back on this property in over a year. Now I would like to, at this time, just before I close, I would like to put up a picture of me on my last mission. I received a complaint of an alligator in a garage not far from my home, and I responded. I got my my alligator patrol vehicle, as you'll see in this photograph. To describe it, it has a sign on the back identifying me. And there's a holder in the back, that pipe that sticks up. Inside that is an 8-foot long poke pole, piece of PVC pipe that I would use to poke alligators, larger alligators, out of garages, out of entryways where they had ended themselves, and got them turned around and headed back to one of the ponds on the property. So here I am with this ferocious alligator on my last assignment. It was a lot of fun. The little rascal was hard to get out from under a car, but eventually I made it. So that's it for today. Next week we'll embark on storytelling of old Sanibel, and I think I will start off with tales about the Sanibel ferry line. So if you haven't yet, please subscribe, like my episodes, help me gain more coverage on YouTube. And please, if you have a question on anything I've covered, anything closely related, please leave a comment, a question. And don't forget, if you want a copy of that crocodile paper, please contact me by email using the email in the upper left-hand corner of the screen, sanibel.chronicles@gmail.com, and I'll get back to you. Thank you very much for your attention. I hope you enjoyed it, and I'll be talking to you next week. Thank you very much.